Oh, I see you. You're successful. You've done your homework. You've researched the cities, communities, suburbs. Some of you have been online looking at builders. Well, let's see how well you use your smarts when purchasing new construction. Are you ready? In this video, I'm going to share with you a few tips, a smarter way to buy a new home. Before you buy the furniture, you got to choose the dirt. That is your site and surroundings. Now, some of these tips you're going to be very familiar with, and you're going to think, hey, Tracy, I didn't even think about that. Or, you got a point. Well, let's talk about the orientation of your home. You already know if you want your home orientated facing a certain way. Some of you want your home facing north. Some of you like to be on that front porch when you see the sun rising in the east, on the back patio when it sets in the west. That's great to have this in theory, but we've got to do a little work, a little homework. And this is what I mean by that. Your builder has a certain number of lots allocated for you to choose where you want to build your home. But you may not be able to pick that exact site if someone's already beat you to the left or to the right or nearby that home, because the builder is not going to allow you to build your dream home right next to a home that looks almost exactly like yours. So that's why you want to get in early where you can pick your plan, pick your elevation, and there's no conflict with a neighbor across the street. And if you want your home facing a certain direction, and you've picked that plan, well, that's something to consider, because if someone else beats you to it, then you got to choose a different lot. And speaking of lots, let's talk about the size of the lots. When we mention the size of the lots, it all seems kind of like arbitrary. You don't quite get it sometimes because it's just one other number that's thrown around. But for example, if we mention a 65-foot lot, we're talking about the width of the front of the lot. The lot could be irregular. It could be pie-shaped. It could be larger in the back than the front. There's a lot that can go on with selecting your lot. Now, if you want a swimming pool, you also want a view. All right, think about it for a moment. I've had a client who, had a choice to make. Wanted the beautiful views of the community pond, the path, the trails. Oftentimes when you pick that lot, the HOA requires that you have iron fences so that the view is not obscured by your 6-foot privacy fence from the people who are enjoying the trail. Well, here comes the rub. If you want a swimming pool in your backyard, you might want a little bit more privacy. And I did have a client who, they like to sunbathe, they like to skinny dip. So if you want a swimming pool, you have to consider the size of the lot. Will it accommodate your swimming pool? And the privacy that may not come with certain views of the community and certain amenities in that neighborhood. Here is one other thing when thinking about your lot, and that is the size of your home. If you've chosen a floor plan that has a really large footprint, that's going to take away from your backyard. And it might also mean that you're a little bit closer to your neighbor, and you prefer your neighbor to be farther away. So if you want a little bit more privacy and you want distance between your neighbor, then we certainly want to look at larger size lots. Hey, you're in Texas. We can get you a couple acres or more if that's what you want. Now, here are some little quirky tips that you might want to consider when picking your lots. For example, the corner lot. Some people see that corner lot as the coveted location, and that could be great, except where that corner is. If it is in part of the main entrance to the community, then that nice corner lot, that's going to feel more like a speedway with your cars going in and out of the community during school pickup, drop-off time, or going to work. So when you pull out of that driveway, be very well aware and cautious. Oh, and by the way, the joys and woes of living near a school. Yes, your little angel can walk to the school every morning, and after school, you're waiting on the corner and you skip home together. Very convenient until, you're running late or in a hurry, and you're always in a hurry. Both sides of the street will be filled with pedestrians, bike riders, walkers, cars, and a neighborly hand wave quickly turns into, a different gesture. So what's a little inconvenience? It's only before school, after school, special programs, Monday through Friday for 9 months. Oh, and the next cautionary tale is, well, what I describe as your home being part of the T. Let me show you what I mean. The T. The T intersection in the neighborhood, where people drive off one of the main streets right into the front of your home, and backing out of the garage can be a bear. And at night, imagine the car lights illuminating through your windows. Now, that's something to consider when choosing your lot. The next lot location to be aware of is if it backs too busy. You know what I mean, that busy street. I like a good deal, you like a good deal, we all like good deals, and one surefire way to get a discount on your home or your lot, be near a busy street or right next to a business. In this case, the rock quarry. And you can see where the developers put a little wall up there to kind of buffer the view, but it's there nonetheless. The two radio towers you see would not be considered the best view in town. And take a look to the right. You have this rock or the stone underneath the wood fence, with us a retaining wall, and it's not uncommon. The question to ask, who maintains, who is responsible for the upkeep of the retaining wall? Is it you or the HOA? And then as you can see across the street, that nice brick wall, well, that's to help buffer your home from the busy street. These are just a few things to consider when choosing your lot. So if your backyard faces a busy street, then the builder is going to give you probably some type of brick fence to kind of buffer visually that there's a street behind you and the noise. But that is something to consider because you got really wrapped up and excited about maybe a lot discount or something else to attract you toward that lot. But just be aware, I mean, it's great. It's your home, enjoy it. But that could be something that your next buyer considers when it's time for you to move. And just remember, what's being built around your home is very, very important. You know what I mean. So you have this beautiful community, you went and saw this home, you fell in love with a home. Either it was next to something that you're like, wow, I don't know if I want to see that every day. Or, I don't know that I want that kind of business that close to my home. Either way, you always want to check the surroundings. And even if your community is next to something that's busy, that's okay. Just try to make sure your particular home, your lot, is farther away from that busyness or anything else that your future buyer may consider an objection. And our next part to smarts is M, money moves. This is a no-no, like a cardinal sin. Whenever you are purchasing a home, do not make money moves. Do not shift around money. Do not go get credit. Do not buy furniture for a home you don't own. Sit tight, sit on your hands. Resist the temptation of falling into the trap of spending money, opening lines of credit, doing anything that would jeopardize your score. Because if you make money moves, you may not be moving anywhere. And just think about it. If you've given notice to wherever you're renting, you may have nowhere to move other than, back home to your parents or try to couch surf. And that could be a big problem if you're moving with your entire family. Now, let's take a pause for our station identification. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and I help people just like you sell and buy homes in and around our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I realize you can find out quite a bit online: bedrooms, baths, square feet, price. But what you may not be able to discover is how people really live their lives in our different communities, cities, and suburbs. Well, that's where I come in. I hop in the car and I drive around so you can have the bird's eye view, VIP access of how people really live their lives. And if you like to be in the know, then you're going to want to subscribe below, press the bell. You'll be notified anytime anything goes down around town. And don't forget, give us a thumbs up. Now, back to the video. And of course, you need an advisor. You need an advocate on your side. And this is, your realtor. There are so many moving parts, even when buying a brand new home. Sure, you get the privilege, the joy, the fun of picking out the elevation, the floor plan, the design. Do you want a media room? Do you want a second suite downstairs? Knock yourself out and have fun. But there are so many critical details that are involved. Having the inspections done. Yes, you do need inspections done. Third party, your inspector, to inspect new construction. And you also need someone who can look at those documents objectively without any emotions and excitement involved to make sure that there are some clauses in there that protect you. Because keep in mind, the friendly salesperson, yeah, you can do this on your own. You don't have to use a realtor, but that friendly salesperson in that model home showing you all the floor plans, your options, they have a fiduciary duty. They work for someone. And guess what? They work for the builder. And don't you want someone on your side, on your team, that's going to look out and work for you? So people ask all the time, Tracy, when I'm buying a new home, do I really need a realtor? My answer to you is, do you need representation? And hopefully the answer is yes, because there's so many things that you just don't know what you don't know. Price is subject to change. Real price picture is a real thing. When we quote prices with new construction homes, this is only introductory, move into the neighborhood, move into the home. There are so many variables. You know your taste, you know your style. You're always going for the upgrade and the option. So the upgrade and the option is going to cost you more money. You can have it, you just have to pay for it. So if you're watching this video, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can get all of this house for this little money. Well, it is a lot of house and you can have it. But when you start adding on that view, when you start adding on that extra space, when you start adding on that beautiful upgraded elevation, then you're adding to the price of your home. So price is always subject to change. Timing is key. If you watch a video or if you've been looking online, I know you have, at different builders, different incentives, well, those incentives could change by the time you're actually ready to make your move. Perhaps the incentives were here when you first looked online, but now the builders added more and more and more incentives. Or maybe you were watching the market, you were studying the market, you were praying for something to change, and by the time you realize, I need to go ahead and make my move, some of those incentives have been removed. But typically, hold on here, typically each month, each quarter, each build is a little different. They have different incentives. So buying a new construction home is one way to get into a property with so many incredible incentives. You're going to ask yourself, why did I wait so long? And finally, a sense of community. You want to research the vibe, the amenities, the features within the community, because enjoying your life, your lifestyle is paramount. You've got the beautiful home, but if you don't enjoy what the community has to offer, then it may not be a great experience. And in DFW, you have plenty of options to choose what works best for you. If you love the multiple sports courts, the swimming pools, the robust event calendar, then you might want a premier plan. Some people call it master plan communities. Maybe you're like, Tracy, I like people, but I don't like them that much. Then you may prefer a boutique community. Either way, we want to make sure that when you pick the right house, you pick the right location, and the right location could begin with the right community. Well, I know you're pretty smart, and hopefully after watching this video, you have your smarts elevated when it comes to buying new construction, new community. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and I help people just like you sell and buy homes in and around a DFW metroplex. And if you're relocating to the DFW, or if you're already here, but you're thinking about buying a new construction home because you've heard so many things about how there's so many incredible incentives and opportunities. Well, guess what? You heard right. If you're thinking about making a move, comment below, give me a call, grab one of the one-on-one consultation links, so together we can better realize which location within the community, which lot, which view, which structure, which size is the best one to build your new life in your new community and call home.